Hello and welcome everyone to Loud and Proud Orlando. It's Monday, July the 22nd, 7:43 p.m. Thank you guys for being live with us. About 30 people live. Thank you so much for your support. About 8 people on YouTube and about 23 people on X. Also, I do want to say hello to everyone on Instagram. We have Menace underscore Isaac that joined and Mary Jane Campagnolo, Sax mom. So thank you, Miss Campagnolo, for watching. We'll love to see Sac thriving and kicking butt there at Colorado Rapids. So, from everyone here at LPO, we just want to say hello and also congratulate Sac for being the future of soccer here in America. So, thank you so much for watching. Again, drop us your comments, subscribe, and drop us a thumbs up. We're here with John. I do want to say before we start. It's going to be a great episode today. We're going to be talking about the draw against NYCFC, and then we're going to do a little bit of a preview of the League's Cup. So stick around, buckle your seatbelts, and get ready for the ride. John, how are you, my friend? How are you feeling?
Good, man. Yeah, I had a good home game experience. That was fun. I actually our counterpart, so the people that do the Stoke podcast, which is my team, you can see up on the wall behind me back in
There you go.
England. He was over visiting, and we talked a bit on Twitter and stuff. So he was over visiting with his family, doing the summer holidays, Disney, all that. So he came to the game. I took him in the wall, showed him what it's all about at the Orlando City game, the Orlando City match. So it was first game for him. Great experience. Always nice to see like a first timer coming into the stadium and everything, their first time reactions to all that. So that was great. Wish we could have got the win, but I'll take the draw and another point from a hard fought game.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was definitely a hard fought draw. I mean, you have to understand NYCFC, whether we like it or not, they're a top five team in the MLS right now. They're doing really well with this squad of players. They have youth, homegrowns. They also have players that are DPS. So they've built a pretty good squad, following actually our model. Low cost, high reward. And I feel like that is something that we should definitely discuss. There was a little bit of a squad rotation on the wing, in the beginning. I don't know how you felt about that. In the last game, we have Facundo Torres coming from the get go, and now in this game we had Nico Lodero, right? Nico Lodero starting for the Lions. But before we go with John's analysis, I do want to say today we're going to be talking about the tie against NYCFC. League's Cup is back again. Group stage preview and early bracket predictions. So appreciate everyone that's watching live. John, what are your thoughts from the start of this NYCFC game?
The lineup, I think, almost as we expected, but with a few things different. Like Santos over Slate. I mean, sorry, Santos over Kyle Smith. We were debating which one that would be. I was a little surprised that Kyle Smith wasn't back in for this game, but I don't think Santos had a bad game at all. I think he played pretty well. The major surprise being that Nico Lodero was playing like the right wing role instead of Facu Torres. Probably just because Facu needed some rest after 3 games in a week. But, maybe Nico is not so suited to being a right winger, although he did have some good crosses into the box from his left foot. But that was an interesting choice, and I think shows that we are missing when Enrique, who is like the guy I would put there, when he's up at the 9, I think we're missing a winger option in the team right now because Nico, I don't think should be playing there personally.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it kind of made the game very choppy, and I totally understand why Pareja did that. It was because he kind of wanted to see how NYCFC was going to propose the game and kind of see how they were going to start, especially in attack. And Lodero, he sees him as a more of like a defensive minded guy that still has that offensive push, here and there, and a good feet. uh the way Apple TV put it in, that's not how it was really on the pitch. I mean, you see when I was at the press box, I saw Ojeda at the 10, Lodero as a as a winger. So um it's not how we typically. I was taken aback by it, but I figured, maybe Oscar, because they also last game they killed us through the wings. Tavon Gray and the other kid right there on the other wing. They killed us, and Lodero was going to be there to be a little bit more of support on Thor Halson, and Pareja already knows that Angulo and maybe Cartagena were going to do the defensive work right there to help Santos. So he's like, Dagger needs some help. I'm going to maybe put Nico there because he's more of like a, you know, defensive minded, midfielder. But in the end, to me, I think offensively, it was not a good first half for Orlando. But then it got better. It got better. What are your thoughts regarding the offense for Orlando City, John?
I think we look pretty good again. I think it's just a case of Reese having a really good game. I think the chances were there. It wasn't a case of not creating enough. I still think the team was clicking and flowing like we saw in the games before. We just, we also still are one mistake, but we didn't get enough on the other end. We didn't get the second, third goal like we have been in other games. And I think a lot of that down is to Reese. I mean, we got 5 shots on target, none of them big chances according to FootMob. So more like distant shots. But in that second half, like Enrique's shot could have gone in for the second winner. Wilter Cartagena had an incredible chance that could have gone in as well. And Reese pulled out some massive saves there. So on another day, I think it's 2-1 or 3-1 even, and we're rolling with another win. In terms of the amount of chances like they got, really it's just those lapses in concentration or those moments where we're letting them in, and when we do, it's a big chance that we'd be giving away. So looking back, they had 2 big chances and we had none. But if I'd have told you that from the end of the game, you probably would still feel like Orlando City was the team to win it. Just in this one, the error from Wilder really cost us, and like I said, we weren't able to get that second and third goal and able to get us the win.
For sure. I wholeheartedly agree there. Cartagena, in my opinion, cuffs up the lead for, you know, for the Lions. 5 minutes after Enrique's goal, I was like, everyone at the press box was static, and the wall was static. We pretty much gifted the tying goal. NYCFC really pressed Orlando super high throughout the game, and you know the cool thing about it is the line Orlando figured out how to handle that pressure, and it's just that mistake of Wilder. It's just, again, you have to understand, you have to see it as in my opinion, you got to see it as a global, as a number of games. Like, the past 3 games since he's been back from Copa America, he's been on fire. He's been one of the top players in the team, and this mistake really proved that it was really costly for the Lions. And again, everyone seemed, because NYCFC was so gung ho and pressing, they were passing back the ball, and he was looking for Dagger and Rodriguez. You have to understand, Rodriguez, he's their best player, and he intercepted the ball, and boom, it was done like that. And then another thing is, they had a really good player, which is the keeper. Freeze had a phenomenal night at the goal. So we'll discuss it in a little bit. Let's read some comments real quick, and then we'll go through with the footage here. Colin OCSC says Sparks and Sands are tough due to break down the midfield. Ultimately, we just made one bad mistake, and that cost us. That's right. Team Bedoya also leading the league in the last 5 games with 13 points. There you go. That's an amazing feat right there. Thank you, Team
That was
Bedoya.
a stat that went out on Twitter today. I can't remember what the outlet was, but there's a whole ranking they put out, and we were top of that
That's
with
amazing.
yeah,
Joshua
13
Tall,
goals.
Enrique is on fire. That's right. I also think Orlando should have had a penalty in the first half. That's what Oscar said with the Angulo thing. When we'll discuss in just a moment. Thank you for addressing the superstitious white T-shirt for Poppy. There you go. Yeah, we'll discuss that. He had a blast answering that question for sure. I was really hoping we were going to score a second goal and win it, but we played well for the most part onto the League's Cup, and hopefully we can do well and maybe make a run. Vamos Orlando. Thank you so much, Joshua. But yeah, let's watch the highlights real quick here. Again,
News Orlando still without
um,
Maguire away at UNBEATEN's Olympic
no
Games
Duncan
debut.
Maguire, but
Now
definitely
Florida
Ramiro
last
Enriquez
during
scoring,
the Panthers won with
being
injuries.
hot.
Rotation tonight. Four changes to this
And
side.
this
They
was
came back from 2 goals down
NYCFC's
away.
lineup. I was surprised no Tevin Gray because he had such a great game against us. I figured that's what NYCFC was going to do, but I guess Nick Cushing had a different idea, you know. Um,
Atlanta on Wednesday night.
Also, that they're nine. Also,
And kickoff. This is positive for Orlando.
there you go. Yeah, so that was the goal for Orlando. Let's see how it starts. So
It's crazy to me that there's no, like, basically no first half
yeah,
highlights in this package at all. It goes like the beginning of the game
because it
to
was
our goal.
it
Like
was so it was so choppy and so ugly, man. It was like really boring,
it,
honestly.
it
And
was not like for there's me with the first time game person. I was like, well, we've had chances, but I'm hoping it will get a bit more exciting in the second half.
so there was a team on the pitch that their mentality was, let's do the same thing we did, and we scored five. We scored a couple goals on them, which it was NYCFC. Which that's what they did in New York. And then there was a team that said, "Hey, I'm gonna play more defensively solid. I'm not gonna give it up." And that was Orlando. So because both teams were going at it, it was just water and oil, mixing. They weren't mixing. There was nothing happening. It was an own goal at first from the box. I don't know if you thought it was an own goal as well.
I was watching Martino Ojeda cutting in, and I was like, oh, he's gonna hit this. So I'm thinking far post.
Yeah.
And then I'm watching where the ball goes. And even I'm like, don't even have the, and I'm right behind the goal almost up here. So I was in a great position to see it. And I didn't see the deflection. It happened that quickly.
Yeah.
There's a question, like Enrique celebrates this like it's a wonder goal that he scored.
Yeah.
The question I have is like, how much about this does he know? Like, is this intentional flick into the net, or has he just kind of got in the way of Ojeda's shot and come off his foot and it goes in? I don't know the
Well,
answer. Honestly, I looked at it 20 times. I'm like, is this a genius finish, or does it just come off him and go in? I don't know.
he mentioned it a little bit at the press conference. He said he totally put his foot there. He knew
There's
the
like a
ball.
millisecond when you
Like
can see him.
he's like, I totally put my foot there, and it was a great goal, and that's why I celebrated it. So
I mean, I love the confidence either way.
yeah, he's hot right now,
He
and
celebrated like, that's exactly what he knew what he was doing. Like,
yeah,
I
so
don't
he
think you
knew.
celebrate that hard if it's a lucky deflection.
Yeah, he even did a viral TikTok video that's going viral in South America.
Him
You
and
know that.
Angulo, I saw them
Yeah,
running over
they
there
were
to
doing
go
that
do it.
viral TikTok video. I'm like, yo, okay,
He like
uh,
signaled Angulo. He's like, "Yo, bro, come on, let's go." And you see them run over towards the front,
yeah.
like the cameras, and do their thing.
Now, after this,
Goals in 4 games for him.
yeah, and also Ojeda is cementing himself as one of the most important players in the team to me.
Everything
Offensively,
we do right now is around Ojeda. He's just in everything we're doing up front.
there you go. So look, he did it with the outside of his foot. So that's why he celebrated it because if
Right
you
here, you
that is
paused it perfectly,
yeah,
Luis. You could see him
that is
looking at the
so hard.
ball.
Yeah, that is so hard to do. So hard to do. How
I mean,
dare
he did it so
anybody do that?
quickly, you can barely tell.
Like boom, like with the outside of the foot. I didn't notice that from the press box, obviously, but I mean, with the outside of the foot, I would have celebrated like that too. I mean, that was a pretty good goal, if you ask me.
It sees it coming in and then just
Yeah,
opens his foot and redirects it, like toe
yeah,
pokes it almost like
it
into the
redirected it. Yeah,
into the net. So kudos, because even in watching it back 3 times until you paused it right there, I couldn't tell that he's actually looking at that ball.
yeah. So that's amazing right there.
And get that opening.
And now he also probably could tell that Freese was in a good position, probably to defend it, or
Freeze
he
was
was just,
thinking back post,
or he was a little selfish. He's like, hey, let me take this away from Martin. But
happened with Pedro and Wilder, because Pedro passed him the ball and then Wilder looked like, I didn't want this, and just gave it straight back to them. So
this is the thing that I've been noticing is like Galese wanting to play as a center back, in my opinion. He's like, and then so he passed it to. I mean, he was not going to pass it to Jansen. He should have passed it to Rodrigo, in my opinion. But he passed it to Wilder, and then again Wilder was his back was facing, he was facing, his front was facing Pedro, and then I feel like he just couldn't handle he just wanted to, he thought Dagger was closer, and he just,
it was Cesar, right? Not Dagger. Dagger's out
it
on the
was
wing.
Cesar or Dagger, either way,
Cesar,
either
yeah.
one of them. I think it was probably more Cesar, and he thought Cesar maybe was going to be there, and then he just totally made an awful mistake right there. Pretty much gave it away to
This is Luis.
Rodriguez.
This is exactly how people score goals against me all the time on FIFA, because I just, I'll be winning and then I'll be like, I'll just pass out for the, oh no, that's gone wrong, and then
But then
goal.
also you have to understand who was out of position here. Santos.
Yeah, but to be fair, we had the ball, so it wasn't.
Yeah, so yeah,
it wasn't really like we got to get back and defend. It was like we're about to build up a play, except from we just gave it away deep in our own half.
Yeah, agree on that. But then also you have to understand one of the reasons that happened was the speed of Rodriguez, and already he right there. At first, when he touches the ball, he already saw, okay, this dude's now marking my guy right here. Santos is now marking him. Let's just make a chance out of it, and that's exactly what happened. And then when you're 1v1 with the keeper so close, I mean, Galese, I don't know if he could have done any better. I don't think he could have. I mean, it was. He tried. I mean, he did the cross right. They're getting players that Do you remember NYCFC being like kind of like the Inter Miami, and getting all these players back in the day, right?
Yeah, I mean,
and now they're actually doing good with their academy, and they're doing good with the players they're signing. They're
well, I thought we're still going to get another one at this point, Luis. It was a shock to go down so quickly. We just gone up and just scored, and then we conceded again that quickly, which sucks.
And then we had that one for Ramiro, and then that's when Freeze became alive. I mean, Freeze became alive because that was probably going to be a goal. And again, the confidence by Ramiro, to shoot the ball from distance like that, Ojeda's becoming so important. Here, he just totally flopped. I do want to say he didn't even touch him, but he's becoming so important that it's costing. I mean, you could see he was tired. Minute 69, he was exhausted. He was with the stong out. He was super tired, but he still kept it cool, calm, and collected. Well, he's getting his edge back. You know what I mean? Like his mojo back. Actually not being afraid of
48 seconds out of 98 minutes. Luis Muriel has a chance to win us the game, and I thought this is it, man. Like, you're gonna be the hero. You're gonna be the dude. It wasn't a great shot. It's a bit weak, honestly. He turns, it doesn't get much power, and it's an easy save. So,
still
not working for Muriel. It's annoying.
I know Oscar's from the school of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But I'm asking you, John, what do you think about Brecalo? He came a little late, as a substitution.
Yeah, Joshua Tall asked, when do you think we'll start Brecalo again? I think Oscar's loyal to his boys, and I think Schlegel is, as we know, is one of his boys. And he's in there right now. Defensively, we're still looking pretty solid. Like this game, you can't blame Schlegel at all for
Right, at all.
what happened
Yes.
on that goal. So it's not down to him on that one. So, Oscar's policy is, I'm going to keep you in there until, you show me, or David has to do, really show him in training why he should be back in the starting 11. I think it's like you said, Luis. I think it ain't broke, don't fix it. But that might all change. Leagues Cup coming up.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that. But
I think
I was surprised to see him still be in there. I thought maybe after that first game when he came back, he'd be back in the team by now. But clearly, Schlegel's holding his spot down.
We should use him as a right back. If you decide to play 4 in the back, and if you're playing, like, let's say we're going to be facing Columbus, we're going to be facing competition that we know that it's superior than we are. Let's be completely clear and unbiased. Columbus clearly is a superior competition. So, get Brecalo to, he has the speed. He's also a center back, so he could play in a line of 5. With two wing backs and 3 defenders. He could also play in a line of 4. So why not? It's another option. I don't know, unless Orlando's going to surprise us in the summer and get us a defender. A right back or a left back, which I highly doubt. But look, John, we're 170 people live right now. It's like a record. So drop us your comment. About 160 on X. And about 10 people on YouTube. So thank you so much for your support. Anything else you want to add on this game, John?
And it would have helped massively in the table. But also, I think we played well. I think on another day, if, Fries doesn't pull out some incredible saves, we win comfortably 2-1, 3-1. So I'm happy with that. We're doing the same stuff. The momentum was there. The game was there. The attacking flow was there. We just really need to try and be a little bit less sloppy at the back, and we can't afford to be making those mistakes right now.
Yeah, and with that being said, we 180 people live. Thank you so much. We have Oscar with his white T-shirt. Saying
I like
hi
that T-shirt, man.
That's right. And, again, everybody adding to the superstition. And then so we were able to ask him that question. So I'm going to go ahead and play it real quick. It's all in our Instagram account, and also it's all in our YouTube. So make sure you want to check it out. All of our YouTube press conference footage, it's all time-stamped. So you can fast forward to your favorite question, to, the favorite, if you didn't like one question or you want to skip through it, you're more than welcome. It's all timestamp. We always take a little bit of a time to do that for all of you. So un resultado. This one's translated because I did it in Spanish, so you guys could probably read the captions right there.
Que no fue una victoria, pero creo que se sacó un buen resultado. Le quería preguntar, el fútbol está lleno de supersticiones a veces, y bueno, mucha gente en las redes está diciendo que usted, que está usando el polo blanco para ganando los partidos, entra una racha ganadora. ¿Qué piensa de ese folclore de los hinchas? Muchísimas gracias.
Pues hombre, que bueno, estoy cumpliendo 28 años de casado con mi señora, mi aniversario, y esta polito me la regaló desde que empezamos a ganar, entonces no me la quito tampoco. Right. it is our 28th anniversary with my wife, and they asked me about this white jersey, and if we win, we'll try to use it again.
so so it was a gift from his wife, from his 28th wedding anniversary, which is great. I honestly didn't think of it, but there was something behind it. Clearly, I mean, he
Yeah.
was, and if we keep winning or Orlando keeps getting these results against, I will consider, and again, people are probably not gonna like what I'm gonna say, but I consider NYCFC a top team in the East. I mean, I think the table says it. Whether we want it or like it or not, they're a top team in the East. So I mean, they're getting a good result against the top team in the East, which is what people have been asking. What happens if you play a top team in the East? Oh, you're gonna lose again, man. Well, clearly that didn't happen. It says I think this NYCFC game was one we would win with a functioning third DP. This is calling out CSC. Well, I mean, if you're share or chair, I don't know how it's called. You use the song If You Can Turn Back Time. Maybe we can turn back time and get a 30p, but clearly we cannot turn back time, right?
We can get another U22.
Yeah, that's probably the best option. To be honest, all respect for Jansen, much deserved captain, but do y'all think Dagger could also take the armband? He gets interviewed quite often and is very vocal, honest, and takes accountability. Seems fit for it. I completely agree with him. I don't know how you feel, John. I mean, he could for sure. I do agree with Janice. I don't know what you think.
I think maybe Dagger's a bit too young. I think his place in the squad in terms of like how much they respect him is for sure, but often in MLS teams it'll be more of a veteran guy, maybe someone with a bit more age on them that would be captain. I could see him being like vice captain or captain material in the future, like once Jansen leaves maybe, or we've got some openings. But I think he's definitely got that the personality needed to be a future captain for this team.
It's a big responsibility to have the armband, obviously, and again, a lot of contracts that are up in the off season, and he just signed a massive extension that's going to keep him in purple for a long time. So I'm sure that because they feel he has those qualities, I'm sure that's probably why they resigned him. Plus, to me, and I don't know if John feels the same way, but probably he does. I feel he's one of the top players in the team. I mean, you take Dagger out, and it's a huge void to fill, right? I don't know if there's a player that can do what he does right now in the squad.
Yeah, I mean, no arguments here, Luis. I'm a big Dagger fan.
There you go. So are we moving on to the next one, John?
Yeah, let's time to talk some Leagues Cup. It is that time of year again. Whether you like it or whether you don't like it, it's here and our team is playing in it. I think we'll just talk, personally from our point of view on this tournament. Last year it came in and I was, skeptical about it. Wasn't a fan of it. I think because it's quite obviously a bit of a money grab by MLS. They want to do something that make them, the summer make more money with international players, etc. Messi was coming. It all sort of fit. And then this year, obviously, what happened with the Open Cup, a lot of people are pointing at the Leagues Cup and blaming that, which most likely has got a lot to do with it. The fixture congestion that MLS complains about was one of the reasons that they didn't want to be in Open Cup this year. Everybody then points back and say, well, you invented a whole new tournament in Leagues Cup. Totally agree with all of that. I think also we just know that we support our team no matter what. I don't like this competition. I'm not a massive fan of it. But regardless, Orlando City is playing in it. And I am a fan of that team. I'm going to want to follow. I'm going to want to watch. I'm going to want to know what's happening. I'm going to want to go to the games. So as much as I agree with a lot of the sentiment out there around Leagues Cup. I don't think that trying to boycott it at this point is gonna do much in terms of bringing the Open Cup back. I think the Open Cup decision was made regardless, and it was something that MLS were gonna want to do regardless. They knew that the hardcore fans like ourselves, Luis, probably wouldn't like the decision, and yet they went ahead with it anyway. And now we've got Leagues Cup as our kind of summer option as a tournament. Like I said, our team's in it. We're going to want to support. And not only that, here at Loud and Proud Orlando, we've made a commitment to supporting the team and following the team and covering the team. And I think that even though perhaps this is not our favorite tournament, it still applies, and we're still going to be here, and we're still going to cover. So that's where I stand personally on it, Luis. I want to know, your opinion, because I think it's a controversial topic amongst our fan base, rightfully so, and people have different opinions on it.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. Yes, the U.S. Open Cup is the oldest competition in the country, and yeah, I do believe that. Even if you probably ask some of the top level executives in the Orlando City organization, they're going to say, "Hey, with I'm going to play the Open Cup if I had the pull or the leverage to go ahead and get my decision put through. I would definitely play the Open Cup over the Leagues Cup." But unfortunately, just the world of football, the people up top, there's people up top. So there's CONCACAF, and you have to understand, back in the 90s, CONCACAF was playing Copa Libertadores, and even till the mid 2000s, I think, early 2000s, 2008, 2007, they were playing Copa Libertadores, Copa Sudamericana, there in South America, the Mexican teams. So they were getting that level of exposure and also that level of play to help their national team and to showcase what Liga MX had going on. But now, because the break off between CONMEBOL and CONCACAF, that spun that obviously the football in the United States, the soccer in the United States, is growing year after year, and teams are becoming more and more competitive. Like, look at FC Cincinnati, look at Columbus, look at Seattle Sounders. So little by little, the teams are becoming more competitive. So Garber and Infantino had the great idea of say, hey, since you only get CONCACAF Champions League and only your best teams play that tournament, what about make a tournament that we can add more MX teams and more MLS teams, so you both get the gain, wear and tread for your teams to, have these players that are probably going to be in the national team, or they're going to do camps with your national teams, have that exposure to better competition. So they decided to do this Leagues Cup tournament. So also they share the pot, so it's also like John was saying, it's more affordable for them. It's a lot of money involved. Like, the winner gets $300,000, I think, I believe, and
You get more money for winning Leagues Cup than you do.
more money than getting the
MLS.
supporter shield. I mean,
Yeah.
you get $0 to get the supporter shield. So
Madness.
if you look at it in a perspective of that, they want to elevate within their own conference. So before, they depended on CONMEBOL. I do want to say that now they don't. Now they have to do it on their own. So they're not going to do a Leagues Cup with the Caribbean, because unfortunately the Caribbean is in another level of their own. So it's only MX and MLS, and the best Canadian teams belong into the MLS. So it is it is a win-win situation as they see it now. Look, when we started this outlet, we're gonna go and cover all Orlando City, all Orlando Pride, OOCB, and so we're vouching for that. And I feel like people are gonna want to know how their team is doing, so we're gonna continue covering that. Personally, I'm not too fond of that either. I would have loved for them to keep continuing playing the Open Cup, but now they're playing the Leagues Cup, and it is a big spark of discussion also in Mexico. If you look at international media, it's going to take time for that cup to have the prestige that the US Open Cup did. But you have to understand this. When you're trying to better your league and put yourself in the other people's shoes, you would rather face Sacramento United 3 times or Phoenix Rising, or you want to face Monterrey, Pachuca, Toluca. You see what I'm saying? Right. So
Hey, I understand why they did it. I just think there's I would like to see MLS also help the Open Cup, right? A lot of the reason the Open
I
Cup is
agree.
in the situation it's in is because it's been ignored and hasn't
But
been
that's
helped
Garber right
and
there.
has right. And so that's why I think
That's Garber.
I have no objection to the Leagues Cup if you do the Open Cup correctly and you give that its format and you give that its time. And I think a lot of the arguments about, squad congestion could be solved by opening up the league rules and having bigger squads and being able to have more, players paid on certain
Having
money.
the same schedule. Having the
it's a-
same schedule as
right,
everybody in the world.
Exactly. There's a lot of things the league isn't doing. So to blame getting rid of the Open Cup, I think, on the idea that we have too many games, it's just all dictated by MLS. So I think that's where a lot of fan frustration comes in. And I understand both sides of it. We get it. I'm frustrated about a lot of that too. But the ship has sailed, right? Open Cup, they've done what they've done this year. It's already being played. I hope people are paying attention to it and watching it. I've been tuning into some games.
Sounders has a big chance to win in it this year.
Right. But ultimately we're not going to get a chance to play in that. The competition is
It's
going.
unfortunate.
So, but we are going to be playing in Leagues Cup. So we just got to get behind the boys and we got to, whether we like it or not, it's something that we're going to follow and we're going to care because it's Orlando City. Comment here from Collinson. Everyone has the right to support how they want. Either way, I'm glad some organizations are making public statements because MLS should get that feedback about their decisions. Totally agree. I think,
I think it's
like when it
phenomenal.
happened, there was a lot of outrage. Like we should let people know. It's just a shame they don't always do much with our negative feedback.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate that the MLS, and I say it openly, it's unfortunate the MLS is trying to, and I know it's all about money, it's straying away from USL. That's why we've been saying since the beginning of the pod, since we started LPO, that God, Don, if you really want soccer to grow in America, just buy the USL. Just buy it out. I mean, go ahead, John. Sorry.
No, I mean, there's a lot of solutions that could be done. I think that's why America is trying to Americanize soccer, and really, you just need to kind of learn from other countries that have done this for hundreds of years more than you, and copy them a bit more because there's a way to do the beautiful game. And getting rid of your oldest cup competition, that's not it.
Mm-hmm.
That's not it. But enough about that. We wanted to, well, actually, one more comment. JCB says we need to bring back CONCACAF slots in Libertadores. So
wholeheartedly agree. Wholeheartedly agree. I would love, for example, to expose the champ of the US to make a decision. Either I want to play Leagues Cup or I want to play Libertadores. And if that's the case, you are going to have Orlando City being drawn, or whoever is the league, champion, to play in Bolivia, in the altitude, and it'll be an exposure of new things for your league and competition that you've never fathomed to have. And that used to be the coolest thing. And that's why Mexican teams loved, and they always say you ask any of my colleagues in Mexico, what is one thing you miss the most? Facing the South Americans. I miss the most because that's when our soccer was top level. Now the US, what they've done is they value their players lower than we do. We high profit on our players. So one Mexican player costs $13 million. We just sold Caleb Wiley for 8.5 million euros. So you see the difference in price. So in Europe, they will take the American over the Mexican. So they're overselling their players over there, and we are actually pushing all of our MLS players to Europe, and one little part that they had to have some competition was the Copa Libertadores, and they lost that. And look, the U.S. is the father of MX right now, of Mexico. So it's insane, but it's true. So I would love for the MLS teams to go and put the money where their mouth is, and maybe see Columbus play in Ecuador. You know what I mean? It would be fantastic. I think it would be a great thing for the league. But then again, that's another story.
Team Bedoya says it will be interesting to see if there will be OCB call-ups for Leagues Cup. That would spark my interest. Would love to see that.
Yeah,
Sakata. Would love to see Sakata. More minutes for Freeman. Get Jack Lynn out there. Get let's get Williams out there.
That's one question that it wasn't asked at that press conference. I was actually planning of doing so, but they only gave me one question, and I have to respect what my colleagues are asking too, so I can just barge in. But yeah, I would have. I think it would be good to see Shaq Muhammad. It would be good to see even some of the OCB players for sure.
JCB says, I just want to see Luis Sweat for an Allianz Lima Orlando City. Lol.
For sure. Oh man, I will love that.
That's a win-win,
man. I will love Galese coming back in purple to Alianza Lima Stadium, bro.
Dude, that's when Stoke played Orlando City. I was like, I can't win and I can't lose.
That's great. Yeah, because then you're gonna have people that do away days. Like there's a lot of ILF fans, which I do want to give a lot of praise. The people that do away days for Orlando, they go everywhere, and so they went to the Calgary game, which it was in the middle, in the middle of nowhere, but they went there. Imagine them going to like Peru or like Bolivia or Ecuador.
I want a Champions League game away on an island, man. I want to go to Jamaica on a away trip.
Yeah, fantastic.
Let's do it. Islands, soccer on the beach. Alrighty, let's move on. We're going to talk about the Leagues Cup, give you guys a little lay down what's happening. First of all, there's sort of the group stages, of course, that are starting this Friday, Luis, as soon as that. So
yeah, Montreal.
It is here. You can see on the Leagues Cup website, I thought that was interesting here. They're talking about the different stages. It says the Leagues Cup group stage kicks off Friday, July 26, 8 p.m. between two MLS clubs, Atlanta United facing DC United. We also kick off at that time at 8 p.m. on Friday. So no mention of us opening up the tournament, Luis.
That tells you right there.
Just Atlanta.
Who they like more.
Yeah, they're more interested in that than our game versus Montreal. So we are opening the tournament, technically. So that's pretty cool. Leagues Cup stage will conclude with 15 matches between August 3rd and August 6th, including exciting cross-league matches such as the highly awaited Group East 3 matchup between Tigres and Inter Miami. So there's like a bunch of games now, and then we got like a bit of a break, and they're like, there's a bunch of games, and then there's like 10 days. So we got Friday, then we got like almost 8 days before our next game. So they're not really close together.
That's good for us, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. Also interesting things I found on here. Obviously, the bracket we'll talk about in a minute, but there's something interesting happening here at the end. So the Liga MX champion and the top 3 ranked Liga MX clubs will be granted hub privileges. This means the cities and the venues which minimize travel, the rewards Mexican clubs will be playing in predetermined locations are as follows. So they're giving privileges to teams that go far in Mexico to be able to play in teams near their club in Mexico. For example, like Club America would play in California, like Monterrey would play in Texas. So I think that was an interesting point. So I would like to see one of these Mexican clubs go far and have more of that like home and away fan atmosphere, Luis, in the stadium. Wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah, it'll be fantastic. Yeah, I mean it'll be great to, and also it's a good test for our players, and we get to play against kind of like what happened with Tigres. We went to El Volcán, and we actually we did really good. We impressed a lot of people in El Volcán. How here comes humble Orlando City playing in one of the most dangerous and massive stadiums in Mexico. you know,
Yeah.
so
Well, I think it's nice for the Mexican fans if their team goes deep that they
for
have an
sure,
option to jump over the border and come watch their team, as well as all of the Mexican fans that live in those states, by the
yeah,
way, which
massive.
there are an insane amount. So let's talk about the groups. If you don't know, East 1, FC Cincinnati, New York City FC, and Querétaro. I hope I
That's how
said
it's going
that
to stay
right.
over there.
East 2 is us, Orlando City, Atletico de San Luis, and CF Montreal. Of course, Montreal, we'll talk about more of them on Thursday's pod as they play on Friday as our first game. Then not until August 4th do we play Atletico San Luis at home. East 3, Tigres, Puebla, Inter Miami. I think that's a tough group, really, right there. Feel bad for Puebla, don't you?
Well, yeah, I feel bad for Puebla and the Peruvian striker Santiago Ormeño, which plays there. Nothing to do. I think it's going to be between Tigres and Inter.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about brackets as we get onto that later. East 4 is Philly, Charlotte, and Cruz Azul. East 5, you got New England Revolution,
Mazatlan.
Nashville, and Mazatlan. And then East 6, we've got Pachuca, Red Bulls, Toronto. East 7, Atlanta, Laguna, DC. Then we're over into the West. We've got
That one's
Monterrey,
tough
Pumas,
right
Austin. Yeah, that's a rough. So that's one where it's likely, I think, that they will get the hub game for like Monterrey or maybe
that
or
one.
Pumas, and then
Pumas right now
they
is
play it.
Pumas right now is top of the league. You have a Peruvian midfielder Piero Quispe playing there. They have a pretty good squad. Pumas, so it's in Monterrey. It's always a top team. So right now, I got Pumas right there.
Yep, and then West 2, we got Chivas, San Jose, and LA Galaxy.
Ooh, I can't wait to see Galaxy against Chivas.
It's
Oh,
like
man.
it's like
That's a
Chivas.
good
It's like the
game.
old days.
That's such a good game.
Chivas are back from the dead.
Chivas USA. Chivas USA.
No, not Chivas USA. West 3, St. Louis, FC Dallas, and Juarez.
Here, Juarez, I'm sorry. Goodbye, man. You got nothing to do there.
They're not great, are they? And
Mm-mm.
yeah, that's a tough group. West 4, Toluca, Sporting KC, and Chicago Fire. That's going to be interesting. I wonder how many Toluca fans live in Chicago, and we'll go to that. Probably quite a lot.
they're a pretty big team, but,
Yeah.
Kansas City, yeah, I think Toluca has this, and then maybe it's between Kansas City and the Fire, Fire's been on and off. They've been winning against really big competition, and then they've been losing against, like, smaller competition, so,
For sure. West 5, Club Leon, Portland Timbers, and Colorado Rapids. Rapids are hot right now.
Sorry, Timbers. I think it's going to be Leon Rapids.
Leon, yeah.
Bombito, my boy right there, Canada.
There you go. West 6, Seattle Sounders, Minnesota United, and I can't see this one.
Club Necaxa.
Necaxa, that's it.
Necaxa, which is the new sitcom. If you saw the Wrexham sitcom.
Oh, yeah?
That is Deadpool's team. I forgot his name. Reynolds.
He's now part owner of Necaxa as well?
They're both...
Isn't there a bunch of Americans that part own Necaxa? Isn't it a consortium out of California?
I don't know, but they're the owners. They're going to do the same thing with Wrexham, but with Necaxa now, because they're the owners.
Well, I think that's going to be an interesting TV. I'll watch that one too.
Yeah, so...
on Espanol. It'll be Hulu Espanol this time,
Yeah, to me, it's going to be...
Necaxa.
Yeah, it's going to be, to me, clearly, to me, the Sounders, for sure, and Necaxa. I don't know.
And then West 7, LAFC, Vancouver Whitecaps, Club Tijuana. Probably LAFC.
LAFC in Vancouver. Vancouver's hot. It's been also going hot. So
yeah,
I would Club Tijuana. Sorry, man.
West 8, Dynamo, Real Salt Lake, Atlas. I think this is an interesting group. I think RSL might win this one.
think it's
on
gonna
their
be
form at the moment with Chicho Arango, but he is out for some of these games. So
for 4 games.
yeah, so maybe not so much. That was interesting. They moved his suspension over into Leagues Cup. I didn't know that they could do that, but
I think
it's under the same league, so I guess they can.
Salt Lake Atlas, in my opinion.
Salt Lake and Atlas, and that's
Atlas.
it. So that's a lot of clubs, a lot of games. Just to give you a quick rundown on the schedule here, like we said, we're opening with at the same time as Atlanta.
No one cares.
No one
Sorry,
cares. It's not. No, obviously Atlanta DC is the sexier cell, Luis. Come on, than us, Montreal.
Yeah, Almada just left ATL. Come on.
Yeah, I think they were hoping that the Almada cell would still be there.
Who are you gonna sell there? Benteke? Come on.
It's the Benteke. You don't even have Giacomakis to sell anymore.
Yeah.
So we're opening up the tournament as well at 8 p.m. on the 26th, and then we don't play again. Let's look how many games. We don't play again until August 4th. It's different to last year. We played I swear, like Saturday, Wednesday last year, right? In the group stage. I'm pretty sure this year it's like 9-10 days, something like that between these two. So then we play again at home, which is great. I love having both games at home against San Luis on Sunday, Luis, at 8 p.m. So that's a late night Sunday drive home back to Tampa for you, buddy.
Yeah, but you gotta do what you gotta do. You know what I mean? Atletico San
I think
Luis.
the attendance is gonna suffer though for that time.
Yeah, for sure. I think the attendance is gonna suffer a little bit more than likely. I mean, but it is important. It is important competition. We don't always get international competition for the Lions. And the Lions have held their own, even in preseason, against freaking historic Flamengo, playing with their A squad. And they held their own. And it was a preseason tournament. Here they have this team right here. It's essentially a mid-table, mid-table-ish, almost not so mid. Kind of. They're right now in the 10th position in the Liga MX right now. They're right above Necaxa, and they have, I think, one of their few players is Mateo Klimowicz, which is German. He played for the under 20 German national team, but he's also half Argentinian. And then also they have the Mexican Chilean Benjamin Galdames on the right, and Jürgen Damm. He used to play in Houston. Their striker. As a striker, he also played in Atlanta for a while. So Jürgen Damm is actually playing in that team. So they have a pretty good squad. But if you ask me, who has the best between both, I'll say Orlando City. They have the more name recognizable, better squad. I mean, I think Orlando could definitely beat a mid-table down, kind of like not to be mean to you, John, like a Stoke, Black, kind of Blackpool.
I get it. San Luis if there was, San Luis are relegation
like a Stevenage,
right? They're badly. They're like a Burnley. They're down there battling it out.
Like a Coventry City.
Get some points on the table,
Although going too far for Coventry City.
I think we have the advantage home games. Obviously, we are in form. Montreal, San Luis. We can beat them. We can get out of this group. And I think that leads us nicely on, Luis, to talking about not that we're gonna do a full bracket, but we can just give you guys a little idea about like what could happen sort of going forward. I'm going to zoom in a bit more so you can see, and then come over this side. So you can see over here, East 2 is us. So if we come first, we'll be playing East 4 second. And if we come second, we'll be playing East 4 winner. Now, for reference, East 4 is Philly, Charlotte, and Cruz Azul. So, Luis, let's play a little bit of what ifs. What if we come first, and then we play second from E4. Who you think more likely to come second in E4 group?
More likely to come second in E4. I know I have a lot of friends in Philly, but I think Charlotte. I think Charlotte's going to. This is going to be Charlotte. Charlotte FC. You know, probably going through second. So we'll probably will face Charlotte.
So most likely we win our group. We're hoping we win our group. I think it could be Charlotte. Obviously, they're in form at the moment. So it could be it could be Philly. Like Philly are not having a good season, right? Like last few games, Philly have looked like themselves, but they're way down there, low in MLS. So which Philly turns up to this tournament? You think Cruz Azul? What do you reckon on them? Much of a chance for them to do anything between these teams?
Well, I mean, Cruz Azul has probably the biggest chance of being the number one seed there.
Okay.
They
So you
have
think it's
they
a
have
tight
national
group?
yeah, they have national team players. It will really be really surprising for again Philly to regain their form and then go top of the table right there on that group. It wouldn't surprise me as much if Charlotte maybe gets the second slot, because they're in a really good form right now. I think better than Philly. But I think it's going to be between. I think Cruz Azul is going to impose. I mean, they have Antuna's there. Giacomakis is out there.
They're a big boy in Mexico.
Yeah, I
So
mean, they're a pretty big team. So
yeah,
I
I think
think
maybe Charlotte more likely to be second, like you said,
yeah,
like Philly to be third.
Luis Romo's doing
Yeah.
really good too there. And he's going to be playing there. And right now, if you throw any of the Mexican teams, hey, you're going to be playing against Americans. They're going to want to beat you because they have blood in their eyes now because America has executed such a dominance now in the national team that any chance any Mexican team has to beat an American team, they're going to see it as a super win. So I think Cruz Azul wants that positive press if they get to capitalize by beating Philly and Charlotte.
Yeah, I mean it's a tight group, so I think it could be any three of them finishing second. Really, who knows what's going to happen? What version of Philly and Charlotte turns up? Cruz Azul's going to be a struggle for them, regardless. If we somehow, Luis, don't do so well in our group, knock on wood, it doesn't happen. But if we end up second, then based on us predicting Cruz Azul to win that group, we'll be playing them in that first knockout round. So we want to kind of avoid that.
Yeah.
We want to get the first so we can play hopefully a Charlotte or a Philly finishing second in their group. And then where it goes from there is a whole other question because there's so many what ifs. That's just the first get out of our group. And this is most likely the scenarios we're going to look at. But I'm excited to see us against the Mexican teams, man. I don't love the Leagues Cup, but I do like us playing against international competition anytime to see a different competition. I get a little tired of the Eastern clubs and seeing them all the time. So a game against San Luis sounds like it could be an entertaining event.
I guarantee you that it's if we face Cruz Azul is going to be. I mean, Cruz Azul is going to have a. I mean, I think Cruz Azul is going to make the mistake as they always do to underestimate MLS competition, and they're going to choke. I mean, they have a history of that. Cruz Azul has this history of choking. So again, Orlando has nothing to lose in this tournament. I do see Oscar Pareja putting his best squad against St. Louis and against, if we go through second, let's say against Cruz Azul. I see him putting his A squad against those teams. But again, it's going to be fantastic. Facing. I mean, Cruz Azul is a giant. In Mexico, so they have a really big fan base, and it's gonna be great. I'm sure there's a lot of Cruz Azul fans in Orlando.
Yeah, I'm excited to have a little bit of an away fan contingent. You know, it's always I always appreciate the passion of the Mexican clubs. You know what I mean? They've got a history of fan bases there that long precede anything from MLS. So it's great to see when they come to town that the fans come out, and hopefully we'll have a exciting battle against some of these Mexican clubs. Depends how far we go. We'll have to see, but if you feel like you know what this bracket's going to be, they have a $10,000 chance to win, Luis. So
we should go for it.
I never win anything like that. I don't think I've ever won a competition in my life. So
We'll go 50-50
yeah, right.
on the earnings.
I'll start playing the lottery if I win that. All right. The other thing that I don't think we're going to be winning anytime soon, Luis, is this right here, the Leagues Cup Fair Play Table.
Oh, geez.
So this was the Fair Play Table from 2023. I don't know how many people realize this happened last year, but this is a thing they do. They have a Fair Play Table with point system based on how many yellow cards and red cards you get. Let's just say, how did we do last year? I didn't even look. I don't think we'll win this, Luis, based on our
No, look.
first. Okay, here we are. Last year we got a total of 18 points.
Yeah,
by the way,
lot.
golf. You don't want points. Houston Dynamo, 5 points.
5 points.
Yeah. I don't think anybody else got as many points as us, Luis. Is this proof right here that we?
Yeah, we're probably the worst.
18. Yeah. Last year. Wait, Tigres. Apparently, us and Tigres
and us. Yeah,
are
we
the
faced each other
team
in Leagues Cup. So
yeah, so maybe we can win it. Maybe it's a bad thing, but maybe we can win maybe we're not supposed to win the Fair Play Table. I don't know. Is getting too many points a good or a bad thing?
Look,
I'm not sure.
we also had to fade a massive club like Tigres in the first round, and we're gonna have to face Cruz Azul hopefully in the second round. And I think this is the first year we got a mid-tier team from Mexico this year in the group rounds. Last year we had Tigres, so
I mean, there's a few teams here on 2 points. So did they all group win this table? I don't know.
Probably.
I want to look up now. Did they give him a trophy? Was there a medal for least fouls? But yeah, there you go. A fun little bit of trivia. So look out for the Fair Play Table, because we'll probably lose that one.
Yeah, for sure. Hopefully now with Robin Jensen being the king of the yellow cards. And yeah, Joshua Tall, that's great that you said that we could win our group and maybe play Charlotte. Hopefully. Speaking of Sporting KC, says Team Bedoya, they are hosting us August 24th on our MLS return. There you go. Yeah. There you go. People want to see me with Alianza against Orlando. Thank you, JCBs. Appreciate that. So drop your comments, guys. 240 people watching us live, John. Thank you so much for your support. 230 on X and about 10 people on YouTube. So thank you so much for
everyone who's
on X. Go to your YouTube channel.
Please go over if you're watching on X and you're not subscribed on YouTube. Please go over to YouTube.
Please, it will help us.
Subscribe there. Hit the notification button so that you get notifications. The little bell icon when we go live, when we drop videos. We have obviously 3 pods a week. We also have all the content that Luis puts out for press conferences, training footage, all that good stuff. So if you are watching and you're not subscribed, please go over there and do so. We are growing, but we can always use your support, like, follow, comment, all that good stuff. On X, you can find us at LPO_podcast. Same place on Instagram and on Facebook as Loud and Proud Orlando. Also, you can listen on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, wherever you like to listen. But if you want to get involved in the comments live on YouTube or X is the place to do that.
We have a couple of people here on Instagram, so thank you so much to MexiRicken321, BLand_ORL. He says, are we going to be adding any players, or are we sticking with this team for the remainder of the year? Is the MLS transfer window closed? Says Beeland, or what do you think, John?
Oh no, the MLS transfer window like literally just opened up last week. So
Yep.
it all depends on Duncan McGuire, I think, more than anything. But we do have a U22 slot open. So maybe we'll do something with that. We've talked about a left back would be great, maybe a center mid, like a defensive mid. Maybe another striker. I think, like I said, the big question is what's happening with Duncan McGuire, more than anything, which is an out than an in. But there are potential to bring in stuff. I don't know. We'll see.
We also have Mamu 2B. He says, I think it's crazy Miami has a tough opponent. Maybe without Miami. There you go. Thank you for your comments, sir. Colin Gusk is watching too, so thank you so much, Colin Gusk. No Messi for Leagues Cup, says Mamu2B on Instagram. Appreciate your watching, man. Thank you so much for your support. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a fun Leagues Cup. Hopefully, hopefully another, we can add that to, if we make it far, to the trophy, to the trophy cabinet,
I hope so, man. It would be, regardless, like we said, of what you think of the tournament, another trophy, another major cup. We're getting better, I think, all the time.
They're not gonna get rid of it anytime
We're finding our form, and there's a couple games here with some real space between them where we can actually, recover, and have rest and play our full team, not having to play 3 games in a week like we just did. So it's set up like for us to get through the group and potentially have a big game, like we said, against maybe Cruz Azul in the next round. And if we get through them, then we're really starting to think like we're back and we're, playing well. So it can happen. We just gotta keep supporting, and we gotta I think be hopeful that this momentum that we've seen is going to continue, and don't get depressed about the draw against New York, because we could have won that game.
Yeah, we're gonna hopefully see the translation of Oscar and his white tee and our great momentum translated to Leagues Cup. That's what everyone's expecting. So nothing but good vibes and positive vibes to the boys and to Orlando, and we're definitely gonna be there covering the Leagues Cup. Giving you all the insights. So appreciate you guys' your support. Subscribe, click on the notification bell for all notifications. If you're on YouTube, that's the best way. If you're listening to us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, thank you also for your support. And anything else you want to add before we close, John?
Nothing extra for me, man. Just ready for
tomorrow,
a Friday night game.
Yeah, Friday night game. I'm gonna have to. Friday night game.
Friday night game. So 8
my
o'clock.
daughter has a summer camp presentation for her summer camp. I have to be there, and right after I see her, I have to travel to Interco Stadium. So it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun.
Join us tomorrow for the Pride Pod.
Tomorrow.
We'll be talking all about their
summer camp,
summer cup,
the Leagues Cup,
the same thing going on.
Yeah.
On that side. And join us on Thursday when we will preview Montreal and talk a little bit more about Leagues Cup.
Parlez-vous français, John? No,
we're not gonna end the pod by talking French. No. Only Spanish and English here, buddy.
All right, okay.
Vamos Orlando.
All right, guys. Vamos Orlando. Have a good one. Thank you for your support.